The views and opinions expressed in the following paid program are those of the host, callers, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this station, its management, or owners. Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement on this beautiful, super hot and sunny, fun Father's Day weekend.
It's the beginning of the 2-week chronicles of Dad.
You think
it's
so?
like your month. Like if it were the Chinese astrology, it's like month of Dad.
Okay.
June. You got Father's Day this weekend. Your birthday, just a mere
2 days
12
away.
days from now.
You got Mother Nature cooperating. I mean, I haven't seen a cloud in the sky the last
like
3
days.
days.
You know, it'd be good to turn 45 again. I like that. Was that good?
I was trying to calculate how old that would have made me. I'll take it.
I don't
That put
think
me in my
so.
20s.
Rob would be in jail.
That's not true. That put me in my 20s or my teens.
Anyways, folks, welcome to the show. I'm Jeff Lapidus with JBL Financial Services, Inc. I'm a 45-plus year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined by my very capable family and crew. My oldest daughter, Erin Lapidus, the president of our company, who is also a certified financial planner and fee-based financial planner and advisor. And her husband, my son-in-law, my favorite son-in-law, my only son-in-law, Rob Markham, who also is a financial advisor as well as being our life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist. Good morning, children.
Good morning.
Good morning. We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written game plan, a step-by-step strategy that has several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate.
Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one they can count on, so they can do all the things they'd want to do in retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron, Rob, and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Again, folks, thanks so much for tuning in this morning. We've got 2 fun hours to have with you this morning. Certainly hour number 2, our Medicare man, our Medicare insurance specialist. Frank Ellis will be joining us at the beginning of the hour, as he always does, once a month.
That's right. At the top of hour number 2, Medicare.
And it's going to be fun. And just a reminder, all of our clients are folks like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And as Aaron mentioned, we create a game plan for them to have the goals of creating a fun, financially successful, and hopefully less worrisome retirement.
And there are many ways that you can keep in touch with us throughout the week. Log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you can click on the Contact Us button, request a coaching session, financial, Medicare, or both, or ask a question if that's easier during the show. We do check on a regular basis over the next 2 hours. So if you have a question, you want to send it in, you can send it through there and we'll try to answer it live, or we'll get to it after the show. On the lower left-hand side of the screen, a pop-up box appears that says sign up for our monthly newsletter. We do keep the last about 12 months archived on our website, but if you sign up, we will send it out to you every single month. Rob, tell us a little bit about what is in our June newsletter.
Well, our first article is called Financial Regrets. Do you have them? If so, you're not alone. 3 out of 4 adults, according to a recent survey, have financial regrets. And the most common ones, taking on too much credit card debt and not saving enough for retirement. And what I like about this article is it's got a great little infographic there, and it breaks down the decisions we wish we had back by age group. So you can see that millennials have a little bit different regrets than, say, baby boomers.
But like you mentioned, taking on too much credit card debt, that's almost even across all generations.
It's a scourge.
A scourge.
No, it really is.
Those high interest rates are definitely painful.
They are, and, no, it's not fun. 17.5% on purchases or even more. It could be.
Well, it's one of those things where you have the feeling that you are, taking water out of the bucket, but it just keeps getting added back in. It's hard to get to the bottom.
And, I've always treated it as consumerism for consumerism's sake it's a dead end, because there's there's nothing you're going to buy off Amazon that's really going to make you happy. They really,
Yeah, right.
It's true. Regardless of what you hear.
Fast.
Right.
Like it's like, not only is it the instant gratification of the purchase, it's like the purchase arrives within 24 hours now.
I'm not sharing my Zag nuts anymore. Forget it.
What are you talking about? Oh, so you got those off of Amazon?
Well, sure.
Oh. Okay, great. Can you buy them in the store still?
You can actually. Actually, the one that I really like is Malacups, and you can't find them anywhere anymore.
These are like retro treats.
Uh-huh.
From back when you were just merely 45.
Listen, when you're older, you know where the good stuff hides. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Rob, our second article I know is one of our very fun ones that we like to talk about with folks. Should they buy or lease their next vehicle?
Interesting article. New vehicle prices have skyrocketed. The average cost now is over $48,000.
Oh my God.
And we just segue away from financial regrets to $50,000 cars.
Right.
And what could go wrong?
I'm sure there's some people out there listening that remember buying their first house at around $50,000.
I've heard it said on the interwebs that baby boomers were buying their first home for pocket lint and some
raspberries.
Right. Not doing that anymore.
Certainly not.
That $48,000 price tag, when you combine that with high interest rates, means a new vehicle can take a significant bite out of your budget.
That's a good point.
This article lays out some fundamental things to consider before buying or leases, from mileage to maintenance. This article has got you covered.
Awesome.
And our next article, Saving for College, 529 plans versus Roth IRAs. This is an interesting article comparing which is best when saving for and paying for college expenses. These plans differ in some important ways. 529 plans can be opened by anyone, but not anyone can open a Roth IRA. You have to have earned income to contribute to a Roth IRA, and even then, there are income limitations. 529 plans were specifically designed for college savings and expenses, whereas Roth IRAs are primarily a retirement savings vehicle with a college expense provision. This is an informative article giving you insights into both options. And our last article of the newsletter, Birthday Benefits Quiz.
In honor of you, Dad.
Do you remember when you got your license at 16? Or you could vote in your first election at 18? I remember my first election I could vote for. I'm not going to tell you who I voted for, but...
Please don't.
I won't. It was 1996, though. And I was all happy to go. I was happy to go in there and do the bit. Oh, it was great.
96. I was only 10.
Yep. I was voting. I was like, going to make a difference. Going to pull this lever hard. But at 21, you can enjoy all the fruits of adulthood. Well, if you
Except for lower expenses when you rent a car, right, at 25.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you thought that age-based legal changes were done after you turned 21, you're in for a surprise, because we've got a nice birthday benefit quiz laying out all the different ones that you can get once you reach 50 years old. And I'll just give you a little sneak peek into one of them.
Let's quiz Dad again. Give him one.
At what age are you eligible to withdraw money from a tax-deferred IRA or employer-sponsored retirement plan without incurring the 10% penalty?
It's interesting because it's 59 and a half, but interestingly enough, I kind of pegged that age as being the first stage of being a grown-up.
59 and a half.
Exactly.
Because you can take money from your retirement account.
Without penalty.
Well, this is kind of a trick question, because if it's still inside of your employer-sponsored plan, it's actually 55.
That was the next question.
Oh.
They put a little rider on that. You have to be separated from the employer.
Well, that's right, if you're using the 55 to 55 plus rule, which is good.
But either way, it's a great quiz. You can test your knowledge base against it, and it'll be up all month. So you can come back every week and try and do better. Again,
we call it the Coach's Corner. Easy to access. Go to our website, jblfinancial.com. Click on floating icon, bottom left-hand corner. Or if you like, hit the Contact Us section. Send us a little note. Say, please send us a newsletter. We'll ask you for your name as well as your email address. We're happy to send that out to you. And by the way, when you're there, hit the Contact Us section. Ask a question. We'll be very happy to answer that very quickly. Aaron does those all within 24 hours. Cool part also is that those questions usually do show up on the show.
Well, if you have those questions, we know others have them as well. Dad, we have some people on your team this morning.
Well, I love that. So, again, our phone lines are open. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the...
It's already heating up. But the most important text we've received so far this morning is Mallow cups can be found at Cracker Barrel restaurants.
Yes.
So, yes. You already knew that.
Yeah, I couldn't find them anywhere else, but Cracker Barrel's not really close to us.
There is one.
Amazon is really close. And I can get 24 packages in one box. It's great.
I think
there's one on 44 on your way out to Glen Echo.
Yeah.
I think. It's
that's
out to Eureka.
That's out to the Legends, you're right. But the other one, there is one north in St. Charles. Still both too far.
Fair enough.
It only takes 3 minutes to
order from Amazon.
Order from Amazon versus a half-hour drive. No, thank you.
But you could combine a delicious Cracker Barrel meal with your Mallow cups.
I like Mama's breakfast.
Aw.
And our next texter writes, "Hello, my wife is a retired teacher and receives her pension. She has only worked and paid into Social Security for a couple of years during college. Is she eligible for survivor benefits from my Social Security if I die before her?"
She'll be eligible for a small portion of your survivor benefits. She's still going to be subjected to the windfall exclusion on any Social Security benefit. So if she elected your spousal benefit while you were alive, or if you happen to predecease her and she would like to take your benefit, it's going to be drastically reduced by the windfall. Social Security, if you give them a call, will usually do that calculation for you. Unfortunately, we don't even have we wouldn't have enough data in order to do the calculation. That's something that you want to call Social Security specifically about.
Good information.
Absolutely. But I would never hesitate to take it anyway. Even if it's only $100, that's still a benefit that you all paid for through taxes, and it's owed to you. So although it might not be what you were planning, at least you'll get something.
Well, I think you make a good point, honey. If you can access that information through the Social Security Administration, you should do so, because that will certainly put a little bit of certainty behind your plan.
That's also true. You do want to have a good idea of what the numbers are. I would just count on not counting on the majority of the benefit.
Very good. And again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line. We'd love to hear from you. And while we're waiting for your calls and your texts, I want to remind everyone again that All of our clients are folks like you, or our listeners, 55 and older, like to retire or already retired. We'd love to hear from you. Since we had a first...
We're already keyed up on Social Security this morning.
That's where I was going to go to. Let's do it.
Let's go to our first caller.
Good morning, Leslie. How are you?
Hi, my name is Les, and I've got a question about spousal benefits and Social Security. I'm 65 years old, retired teacher with Illinois Trail Medicare Advantage Aetna plan currently. My wife turned 65 in October. So the way I understand this, so when my wife applies for her Medicare, she can join my plan. I believe then I must pay her out-of-pocket expenses until she applies for Social Security in 2 years. Then can I then apply for spousal benefits for her benefits? Her benefits are going to be approximately 3 times what my benefits are right now.
You can apply for the spousal benefit, but because you had access to the teacher's pension in Illinois, you're going to be subjected to the windfall. So you can apply, but you'll see it's not going to be 3 times what your benefit is, most likely. So you'll want to, again, speak with Social Security. They should be able to calculate the benefit for you using the windfall exclusion.
Okay. And do you think that's best just to wait till she turns 67 and then apply for it then?
Yes. You want to, will she be electing her benefit at 67?
Yes, she'll get her Social Security at 67, correct.
Okay, so
because I took it early at 62.
Okay, so you would need to wait to apply for the to even discuss the spousal benefit with Social Security until your wife is taking her Social Security benefit. So if she's waiting until 67, that would be the time in which to take a look. Now, if she elects her benefit before 67, you could look sooner than that because her age is not what is going to impact the value. It will impact the value of your spousal benefit just based on the fact that she's going to take a slight reduction in her benefit if she doesn't wait until 67. But the most important age really with the spousal benefit is the elector's age, which would be you in this case, because as long as your normal retirement age, it won't be reduced any more than what the windfall will reduce it by.
Okay. All right, then. Thanks very much. Appreciate your show.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your call. Phone lines are open.
It's like in the air. People have these thoughts, and then others are having them at the same time.
Absolutely. The windfall situation is complicated, and you really do need Social Security to get involved and do the calculation because as advisors, we just don't have the information.
Unfortunately, we do not. And the other thing to just keep in mind, I would say as a general comment, is it isn't fair. We have lots of clients that have come in where being a teacher was not their first career, or maybe it was their first career and they've had another career in which they've paid in enough in order to receive Social Security benefits if they had never worked as a teacher. And this is specific not to all teachers, but it's specific to teachers that have access to teacher pension that are like the peers pension, or like in Illinois where you are not paying into Social Security for a certain amount of time because you are paying into another pension program. In Missouri, we call it peers. You are still going to be subject to the windfall even if you have enough covered quarters with Social Security if you are eligible for a teacher's pension. That is what a lot of people find to be unfair, but it is the case. So if that happens to be something that your family is looking at, do not count on the full Social Security benefit because it will disturb your calculations.
Very good. Honey, do we want to take our first break here, or should we and then come back and have our own discussion about Social Security, as well as taking your calls and texts at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line?
That's right. So if you have Social Security questions, send them in because that's what we're going to be talking about for the next segment.
So don't touch that dial. We'll be back with more Straight Talk on Retirement after these messages.
You know, every Wednesday, Lauren Risley and Josh and I,
of course,
right, talk about something in real estate, something in home improvement,
sometimes pizza,
sometimes that. But I'm always wondering, we see those signs that say, "I'll buy your house for cash." Should we be leery of that?
I mean, unless there's someone out there just collecting houses, like piling them up somewhere, they're typically turning them for a profit. So in some situations, it may be a good fit for people, but in most situations, they're leaving some money on the table. So if that's an option that you're looking at least reach out first so we can give you some guidance.
And they don't necessarily have to sign on the dotted line with you. You can just offer them great information.
Call, ask any question that you have. Knowledge is power. If you don't know, just call and ask.
Call Lauren at 314-775-0684 or email her hello@laurenrisleyrealty.com.
The time has never been better than right now to get an incredible deal on a new RV at Byerly RV, like the Keystone Passport Mini 190RD lightweight single-axle travel trailer, stock number 18343, for only $19,995 or $194 a month, with 20% down plus TTNL with approved credit. Over half of our inventory is ready for same-day pickup. Come see us at Byerly RV in Eureka, Missouri, the center of the RV world.
Byerly RV.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. It's our busiest time of the year. Everyone is picking out their sports car, motorcycle, convertible, and cool car for the summer. They're going out as soon as they come in, so we really need to acquire more high-quality inventory. We're looking for anything in pristine condition, like Corvettes, classics, modern muscle cars, exotics, Harleys, Ducatis, you name it. We'll even buy entire collections for those looking to cash out or liquidate. We'll buy what we would refer to as everyday cars, too. As long as they're low mile and in perfect condition, we want them. So jump on our site or give us a call to tell us what you've got. And as always, we have a great selection of unique, hand-picked, auto-check certified inventory with excellent financing and lease options available.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
From the country to the city, and all points in between. Thank you for choosing KTRS. KTRS, the best darn talk radio around.
I love the Big 550 KTRS.
Your Big 550. KTRS.
Nationally known, locally owned.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talking Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to our show. It's 9:28 here on the Big 550 KTRS. First hour's halfway done. Still have an hour and a half left, which is going to be fun. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but it did happen.
It's organic.
Being we've had a text question and a caller about Social Security, that segues great into our segment, reasons to take Social Security.
Yeah, I think it's important here to point out the obvious. Making your Social Security election can be one of the most important and irrevocable decisions that you make in your retirement planning. For some folks, Social Security benefits can be as much as 40%. For some folks, it can be 30%. It could be 20%. The rules have changed also in terms of electing Social Security benefits. And so, is there a rule of thumb to when is the right time to take Social Security benefits? The answer is no, there isn't. Everybody's life is a little bit different. If you're as an example, we've had several calls from folks that are participating in the teacher pension plans. That totally throws off all the math. I mean, that's just like a total game changer.
Also, those teacher pensions are fabulous.
Yes.
You're getting out far more than you would have if you paid into Social Security. And with the Peers pension plan, they even give you some options that most private plans don't even offer,
right,
which is you have the option of customizing your pension and customizing a lump sum option if you want, meaning they're going to give you a variety of choices as to if you want to take a little bit of liquidity and reduce your monthly pension, you're able to do so. If you want to take all the liquidity, have no monthly pension, you can do that, which is quite different than even if you were working for one of the major corporations that is either offering pension buyouts through lump sums or is still offering pension options.
So when you elect your Social Security benefits, can be extremely important. And so for many folks as well, do I wait till my normal retirement age, which continue to move back? Right now, it's for most of the folks that are baby boomers that haven't retired yet, it's 67.
Right.
Should I wait until age 70, which is my maximum age, or do I take the dough as fast as I can at 62? Let's talk a little bit about that. Let's use an example.
Let's talk a little bit about Jenny. Jenny can claim Social Security benefits at 62. At 62, her benefit will be $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year. If she waits until full retirement age, her benefit will increase to $2,800 a month or $33,600 a year. That's a 40% increase. But by waiting till 67, Jenny has forfeited $120,000 in Social Security income benefits. So this looks like it's quickly becoming a math problem, Jeff.
Well, life is an algebra problem, Robert, as we like to say. Even with Jenny's increased benefit amount, which is approximately $800 a month, which is significant, it will take her 12 and a half years to recoup the $120,000 she foregoed. I don't know what, that's not really a word, but she did
forfeited.
Forfeit. Thank you, babe. Forfeited by not claiming to take her benefit early.
And I guess forfeit is not technically the right word because Social Security is going to give it back to you. They're just going to give it back to you at $800 a month increments for 12 and a half years if you make it that long.
You hit the nail on the head because I'm just doing the math here, and Jenny has to make it to 79 and a half, or we'll just call it 80 for nice round numbers, for the break even of what you could have gotten at 62. So you're
Something
making,
to consider.
It's a 20-year decision almost when you get down to it.
Yep.
Between the time of your election and the break-even point. So it's something you really want to think about before you pull the trigger, or at least be cognizant of.
And there are a couple of other things that obviously you need to be aware of. Number one is health. If you're healthy, you can afford maybe to roll the dice and to wait.
If you're still working.
If you're still working, that makes it even more difficult because we do have what we call the take-back provisions that occur prior to the year that you are eligible for your normal retirement benefit, right? And Robert, what's the limitation of the amount that you can earn between age 62 and in this case, age 66?
$22,240. They take back one for every $2 that you earn over that.
And this is important. If you're married filing jointly, this is actually only reflective of the Social Security number that is applying for Social Security. So if you're working and your spouse is retired, your spouse is the one considering Social Security, their income is the only income that's going to be calculated. And what do we consider income in this?
All earned income.
So wages, right?
Correct.
So it's not taxable income. It would just be wages.
Okay, so the year that you turn your normal retirement age, then the number goes up. It goes up from 22,000 to
56,520. So you get a nice break as far as the amount that you're able to earn up to, and anything over that they only take back one for every 3. So it goes from 50% to a third.
Right, and so if you are once you hit your normal retirement age, most people's case it's 67, we know that you can earn as much as you want wage-wise, and there is no take-back. So why would you wait until 70? Well, there are a couple of reasons that you might want to wait, right? If you're married.
Trying to bump your benefit up.
Trying to bump your benefit, right, because we know that at death of one of the spouses, the surviving spouse has the option to elect the greater of the Social Security benefits, theirs or their deceased spouse. But they lose the lower benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and there are multiple situations we can talk about. Let's use an example. I mean, your spouse has a pension. They're also receiving Social Security. Maybe in their pension election, they didn't elect 100% of their benefit to come to you as a survivor. Maybe they only elected 50%.
We have to make up not only that 50% shortfall, but now your full Social Security benefit if the deceased spouse's benefit was higher, because you lose one.
Exactly. So that might be the case. Or we've even seen some folks that have said, well, you know what? We're going to roll the dice here. Let's take the life-only benefit. Let's take the single life benefit so that even though I am married and my spouse did sign off on it and didn't make me sleep on the couch for the rest of my life.
They wanted more income.
They want that higher income amount. Well, that might be a reason for one of the spouses to put off their benefit so that surviving spouse would actually have some income, especially if it was the spouse that wasn't the pension receiver.
It's a complicated question because it really depends on, are you going to continue to work? You may be putting it off. Do you want to create a larger survivor benefit for your spouse? You may be putting it off, but on the other side of that, if you have health concerns, you may want to take it early. I was
going to comment on what really makes it even more complicated is all of the literature suggests and all of the commentators say, wait till you're 70, get the largest possible benefit. But I think it was in last month's newsletter, we even showed an infograph that says most people don't wait that long. And there are plenty of reasons for that. One, most people need the money in order to make their retirement game plan and cash flow work. So when they retire, they need the income replacement that Social Security provides because maybe both spouses have retired, or maybe the higher wage earning spouse is the one that's retiring. They need that income. They don't want to wait till 70 and put the pressure on their assets, or they don't want to give up all of the income that they're entitled to over the years that they are waiting to take.
And that's a great point, because nowhere in these commercials or these ads that we hear on TV and radio do they even touch upon the health concerns by waiting till 70. Like if you only live to be 73, God forbid, not only have you foregone all that income, but you only got back 3 years of it at the increased rate. And, they're never talking about the wages that you missed in the meantime by waiting. That just goes right out into the ether, and it never, hey, what about all this money that I could have had that I didn't? And what is that break-even point? So these things are never really touched upon, but they very much need to be considered.
I'd also like to add another one, and it isn't unusual, and we've seen this in many times with our clients, is that one of the spouses is, we'll call them the primary breadwinner. Mm-hmm. The other spouse is somebody maybe who's worked part-time. Maybe they've been a teacher, maybe a part-time teacher, a librarian, something like that.
Or they stayed at home for a significant amount of time with the kids, and they had a career, just wasn't as lengthy as their spouses.
And they weren't able to accrue that same, and their earnings weren't as much, so they weren't able to accrue those same benefits. We've found in many situations where folks come in, we're talking to them, they go, well, let's see, we'll call it Susie. Susie's income right now from work is $1,200 a month. Her Social Security benefit is $1,200 a month. Susie doesn't want to go to work. We say, have a nice life, Susie. Why do it? Right. We're replacing her. In theory, sometimes the income, we're able to replace it.
It's like a 1-for-1.
Or at $1,200 a month, that falls below the income limitation of the Social Security takeback.
Right.
So they could even increase their income while Susie, in this example, is still working, or even working less. She works when she feels like it, and her income is whatever it is, but we've essentially replaced the bulk of her income need at that Social Security benefit. And I think the other thing that we've come to think about is that in all mathematical, bigger money makes bigger money. So the larger Social Security 8% increase year over year is more valuable than the smaller benefits year over year 8% increase. So taking the smaller benefit first, in many cases, makes more sense, because the surviving spouse is always going to get the higher benefit if it's their benefit if it's their own benefit because they survived, or if the lesser wage earner outlives the higher wage earner, they're going to get to take the higher benefit. So taking the lesser benefit can do a few things. It can decrease the pressure on your retirement assets, and it doesn't have as much of an impact on our later in life game plans, which is when what if both spouses aren't with us any longer, or what happens when.
And certainly one thing that we also can't forget about, and we do want to touch base here on, is taxes. Social Security income is preferred income in the tax code. We know that if you're a married couple filing jointly, if your Social Security benefit plus half your other income, half your
Social Security plus all of your income,
right, is less than $44,000, then less than 85% of your Social Security benefits are subject to income tax. If you have an over $44,000, which everybody that we know does, and especially with inflation, that's going to happen. Only 85% of that benefit is subject to federal income tax. Because 15% is tax-free.
Right, because although they say federal income tax in the calculation, they do add back other things that are not necessarily federally taxed, like municipal bonds. So it's very difficult to get out of the way of having your Social Security benefit taxed.
Yes, but again, when we compare, we're going through a choice situation where it's called, well,
it's still preferred.
Should I take my Social Security benefit versus make an IRA distribution? We know that retirement plan contributions, 100% of those are subject to federal income tax, whereas with Social Security, the maximum would be 85%.
Right.
So cool beans, right?
Still tax preferred.
Absolutely. And, I love how when we look at Social Security, we're not looking at it, as a standalone, like it's just out there, standing by itself. It's part of your overall game plan. So a lot of times when we discuss about, how people are going to make their election, maybe they're making an election in conjunction with turning the distributions on their retirement account down. So you're taking pressure off your other assets and using Social Security as a crutch to do that. And it's just very interesting how it all works together towards getting to that income goal ultimately.
That's an excellent point, because we received an email last week from a listener that asked if Social Security planning is in our wheelhouse, essentially. And I said, absolutely it is. However, it's part of our overall game plan for you, so we can't look at it in a vacuum. Really, it's part of a coaching session where we put all of the pieces together for you. When does it make sense to elect, to retire, to start taking distributions, and from where are we going to take those distributions?
Been in many meetings where, we decided not to take Social Security right off the bat. And, we had to fund till normal retirement age. And then at that point, it came into a faucet management. Those faucets get turned on, distributions get turned off. It's kind of like, it's a two-legged race where, it's like a relay, and your retirement assets help you for the beginning part of it. We turn on your Social Security. Now that passes the baton on, and, your retirement assets can take a little bit of a breather and recover.
Absolutely. Before we take our second break of the hour, we've got one more Social Security text question on deck.
And our texter writes, what is your opinion on how Congress will deal with the Social Security shortfall? Will they raise contribution limits and or full retirement age? Is there a real chance they may actually cut retiree benefits? I would say no to the latter, but yes to everything you wrote prior.
I would say tell me it's an election year without telling me it's an election year. This is one of the conversations that gets recycled every election year about Social Security shortfall. First thing is they've already raised the full retirement age. In fact, it's been elevating for the past 15, 20 years. It started at 65 and now we're up to 67, and that's going to continue in an age banded way. So as you are you can take a look at the Social Security website, and based on your year of birth, it will tell you what your full retirement age is to receive your maximum benefit. 62 is still the earliest you could take it. 70 is still the latest, but we're seeing that full retirement age benefit creep up. I would also say, many administrations have taken many different approaches to trying to limit the shortfall. Just a few years ago, they made quite a few changes to Social Security election strategies, which was supposed to help reduce the pressure on the shortfall, as well as, the Clinton administration started taxing Social Security benefits. So we could see a situation where that 15% that is not taxable to you may become taxable. And I agree with Rob that they won't cut benefits in a direct way, but if they tax the last 15%, right, then they have cut your benefits. If they keep raising the retirement age, they have cut the benefits. So one way or another, yes.
Well,
unfortunately.
Yes.
I don't disagree with either of your comments, but I would certainly add that increasing the wage base which the eligible wage base for withdrawing, for basically taxing you on Social Security benefits, could easily double. They could say,
"We're going." There's a cap, right? It's 124,000 or something.
Yeah, this administration has this 400,000 of earned income number as like their magic number for something or other, which never gets passed. But I think we're at 162,000 right now. They could go up to 400 and go the first 400,000, or they could say there is no limit.
All of your wages are
all of your
taxed.
wages are subject, et cetera. So, and that would be a tremendous revenue generator. And hopefully what they'll do is not watch the money and just put it back into Social Security to keep
for those people that
benefits
aren't
a little more stable.
Exactly sure what you're talking about, up to $162,000 of earned income at this point has the Social Security tax. Once you have exceeded $162,000, you are no longer taxed at the Social Security level for your wages. That could be something that I'm sure nobody's talked about. That would be a hidden way to help eliminate the shortfall, because most people don't notice that.
Well, and it sort of falls in the tax the rich philosophy. Higher wage earners
should carry more of the burden.
Should pay more of their already unfair share. Exactly.
No, I think it's really, I mean, a lot of these programs are great programs and everyone relies on them. Congress just has a spending problem. If they get that into control, then everything else falls into place, and these changes don't really need to be as pushed to the forefront the way they are. It's just a matter of getting the spend. I mean, you can't run $2 and $3 trillion a year deficits, indefinitely, which is what these people like to do. So, it's putting.
I'd like a credit card with that limit.
Right. And so, when you do that, it puts to, you, as Jeff would say, you upset the apple cart, and, these guys with malice aforethought perhaps are upsetting the apple cart. So they got to stop doing that.
Nobody would disagree with that. Again, at the end of the day, this Social Security claiming decision is something that you can't make in a vacuum.
Right.
You really have to take into account where you are from an income point of view and your goals, needs, also where you are on the health spectrum. What is your pension, if you have one, your pension situation? What's the disparity of ages between spouses? I mean, there's just a whole lot of things that have to be done. And frankly, done best with your planner. Absolutely. And again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. I'm going to recommend that we take our second break of the hour.
Approved.
Thank you very much. Leave us about 10 minutes left. You can fire on the coaches if you like. Again, our phone lines, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. We'll be right back after these messages.
Before you put your home on the market, before you have to pay money fixing it up to sell it, before you have to pay real estate commissions, call me. I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I will buy your home. Any property, any condition, anywhere, and always as is. Call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. You have nothing to lose when you call Robank Properties at 314-283-0867.
Sure, AAA are the folks who can get you back on the road when you have a flat tire. They can also provide quality and affordable home and auto insurance. But when you think of AAA, think of this too, AAA Travel. Hi, it's Julie Buck, and AAA Travel is ready to plan your next trip or vacation. And you don't have to be a member to enjoy their services. Of course, membership does have its privileges. To find a AAA advisor near you, just visit AAA.com/travel. Remember, the internet is for looking. AAA.com/travel is for booking.
Here's our story. Tony and Denise, brother and sister team, born and raised in good old St. Louis, started in 2009.
More like 1959.
Started our business in 2009 with the idea of buying in bulk in order to save you money.
Our sales staff will educate you on products and features that are most important to you. We can offer top brands like GE at the lowest price every day.
Come by and visit any of our 4 showrooms or shop us online at theappliancediscounters.com, where our savings are your savings.
The The wait is finally over. Come visit Genesis of St. Charles. Your all-new standalone Genesis dealership is now open. Come see for yourself the dedication and passion that have helped shape this unique space designed to elevate your Genesis journey. Luxury and excellence live here at your new Genesis of St. Charles. We make amazing happen. Visit our new indoor showroom at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway in St. Peters. Or for more information, visit genesisofstcharles.com.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Welcome back. It's 9:50 here on the Big 550 KTRS. This is Straight Talk on Retirement. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your life insurance and fixed annuity sales specialist.
And we are willing, waiting, and wanting to answer your questions at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. It isn't unusual for us to begin a relationship, a coaching relationship with folks that are 5 years and under out from their retirement. And as I like to say, when we're starting earlier, we're creating our roadmap, our game plan. I like to think of it as the yellow brick road. And what we're doing is we're slowly adding the bricks, the pieces as we go along. Mm-hmm. So let's talk a little about Joe and Sally. They started with us about 3 years ago. Joe's now 65, Medicare eligible, and Sally is 64. Joe's goal was to retire debt-free at age 65, which is certainly one that can be considered noble and notable because it can have, obviously, outflows have a direct impact on your inflows. At that particular point in time, they had $1.4 million in retirement assets and about $20,000 in personal savings. What's interesting is that, over the last 3 years, the markets have been a little volatile.
A little?
Well, they're always volatile, but these have been a little bit more volatile. When we looked at, they also had, by the way, about $16,000 in credit card debt and an $80,000 mortgage, of which they were paying $1,000 a month.
And that was 3 years ago.
That's correct.
Before we get into Joe and Sally's game plan, we have a tax question.
Okay.
Good morning, Emil.
Oh, good morning. This is my first time ever calling into a radio station, but I did turn off my radio to avoid an echo.
Terrific.
Already a pro.
Okay, I'm not a pro, but I did do something. I had an IRA that I inherited from my father, a long time ago. It's been sitting there for like 25 years or something. And I pulled out of this thing finally when it apparently reached a value of $50,000. It was always at $20,000 forever and ever and ever. And it went up to $50,000 one time before dropping back down again. And I thought I'm just going to pull it out because of the high value. But I'm afraid because it was an IRA, I'm going to be being impacted by tax damage here. And I guess I wanted to get a feel of what to expect, maybe possibly from something like that.
Well, we know that, that distributions made from individual retirement accounts are always taxable as ordinary income because those distributions were made from investments that were made on a pre-tax basis. So Uncle Sam does need to be paid at some point in time.
Right.
I would say, however, that...
Did you do that this year?
Yes, I did. So I'm probably going to feel it next year when I have to pay for 2024 taxes.
Are you still working?
Oh, yes, I'm working.
Okay. Well, if you are working, are you making the maximum contributions to your company's retirement accounts?
I wish the company did have a retirement account, but it doesn't. I think they expect you to work till you drop.
Okay. Well, are you making a annual IRA contribution yourself?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, one way that you could mitigate that damage is by making a contribution to your retirement account. You can put up to
$8,000
if you're over 50.
If you're over age 50.
I'm over 50.
Okay.
Do you have a spouse?
Yes, I do. She has something through her work.
Okay, so what you could do is obviously you could make increase the contributions to her plan as well as put in a contribution to your plan. Those pre-tax deductions will offset
some of the 50,000
distributions that you've taken from the plan. So, as an example, if you don't mind me asking, how much did you take from the IRA?
Oh, the whole thing. I completely took it as the entire thing in the 50,000 because it used to have a value of 20,000.
Okay.
By the time it finally went up after a million years, I thought, let's just pull out of the whole thing.
Okay, so if you haven't spent all the money at this point, what you could do is you could have your wife go to her employer. Mm-hmm. And have her increase her contribution to the maximum, which should be around $24,000.
Right, and
$30,000 with catch-up provisions if she's on the right side of 50.
Right, and so she has some time to do that. And then in theory, you could put up to $8,000. So between the two, you could basically shelter $38,000 of that 50 that you have, which is kind of cool. The other question I have is, are you eligible for an HSA medical insurance plan?
Oh, I do have insurance. Are you talking about life insurance?
No, I'm talking about your health insurance. Is your health?
Health insurance. Oh, I already have that.
Okay. Well, is it an HSA eligible plan? Can you actually make
to be quite honest, I'm not too sure.
Okay. Well, if you were eligible for an HSA type,
or your wife
is,
my wife.
What you could do is put aside another $10,000.
Oh, okay.
So we could basically, if it's possible, we may be able to squirrel away just enough to take care of all but about $2,000 of this
tax bill
that you have.
Oh, that should be neat. Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that there are options to consider, which is great. And I certainly appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and thanks so much for the call. An interesting conversation that we had this morning.
That was a great call.
Exactly. And again, our phone lines are open. We do have about 4 minutes left. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the KTRS text line. Prior to our discussion with Emil, we were talking about Joe and Sally, who had a goal of getting rid of their home mortgage debt before they retired. They started with us about 4 years ago, and so we created a game plan for them and really prioritized for them what we thought should be done. First one was we wanted to eliminate their credit card debt,
which they had about 16,000 of.
And we were able to create a game plan for them to do that on a monthly basis. We also knew that because they had only $20,000 in personal savings, they really needed to increase their
emergency bucket.
Exactly. And so we had a discussion about doing that, and obviously a discussion about reducing their mortgage debt and something we hadn't talked about previously, which was to look at their portfolio mix and make sure that it really met their risk tolerance. They were, after doing a questionnaire, after our discussions, we determined they were moderate investors, which meant that they ought to have a mix of at least 60% of their assets should be in stock or stock mutual fund related items and 30 to 40% in fixed income and cash items, which is good. So let's talk a little bit about their cash flow very quickly.
So they needed about $8,000 of income per month. However, they were saving about $1,000 a month.
Yes, and that means they needed about a net of $7,000. We always increase that by 20% for tax, which takes us to $8,400.
And that's $1,000 a month savings was really reflective of paying off that $16,000 credit card debt.
Absolutely. And when we looked at Joe's Social Security and Sally's, between the two of them, they had about $4,500 a month of eligible Social Security benefits. That would leave them with a deficit of about $3,900 a month, or about $46,000 per year. We know that the magic number the milk money, the capital amount needed to generate that $46,000 using a 4% prudent withdrawal rate was approximately $1.17 million,
which is great because they have 1.4.
Exactly, which is obviously very awesome for them, and also their savings have increased rather significantly.
And once they retire that mortgage, that magic number goes down to $870,
which is great. And so, do us a favor, just like Joe and Sally, don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with some more Straight Talk on Retirement, and to answer your questions at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line after these messages.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Welcome back to our second hour of Straight Talk on Retirement. As always, we're going to kick off hour number 2 with our Smart Choices About Your Healthcare segment. And obviously, we've got Frank Ellis, our Medicare coach, in the studio this morning. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Last week we had one of the directors of Essence, vice presidents of Essence, on with us. And we thought, after we heard about all of the benefits that Medicare does provide, that it would make sense to talk a little bit about some of the shortfalls in Medicare and some of the ways that someone like Frank can help you either be aware of those gaps or, more importantly, fill those gaps in the places that even traditional Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage plans might not cover for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we spend a lot of time, if you listen to the show, talking about, all the great benefits that Medicare has, everything that it's going to cover, how you're going to be protected from things. And today I just wanted to shed some light about a story between Jerry and Martha, married couple, and myself in a conversation that we had because they got kind of surprised by a bill under their union employers coverage. So the big question that he had was basically, hey, are there going to be any surprises when I come on to Medicare?
Got you. So Jerry and Martha had already been dinged, not by Medicare, but they had an issue with their own coverage, and now they said, eyes wide open, we're going to walk into Medicare knowing what is covered and what might not be covered for us.
That's right.
Got you.
So Jerry and Martha, Jerry has actually been with the union. Most folks that have some sort of union coverage, it's probably solid coverage.
Top notch, as you say.
Exactly. Top notch coverage, as I like to say. So Jerry's been under this plan for many years, since like the 80s. Martha, of course, is also under that same plan because it was so good. And what made the insurance so good was just the premium. He didn't have to pay his monthly premium. The union would pay that for him. So, most folks' coverage, maybe
low
not in
monthly
that.
Out of pockets. Monthly, low annual out of pockets, low co-pays, that kind of thing.
Low deductibles, exactly. Now, in which Jerry and Martha would still be responsible for meeting those deductibles and meeting those out of pockets. But in terms of how much we're paying monthly, Jerry and Martha paid nothing. So they absolutely loved it.
Got you.
So Martha was surprised one day whenever she got a bill in the mail for about $6,000. Now, they're both in terrific health, really never had any sort of major health issue, but Martha did have a nose operation unrelated to anything medical, and she was surprised, and this happened back in the early 2000s, 2002, around that time. So
this was still on their mind 20 years later.
This is something, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Yes, 20 years later, and they are preparing for absolutely everything. I gotta commend them for that, I guess.
Hey, it's best to, I think that's one of the benefits of working with someone like Frank or working with even a financial professional, which is if you know what's coming down the road, first of all, it's a lot less surprising. And secondly, you have a lot more comfort in knowing maybe we're not thrilled with, even if Martha had known she was going to owe the $6,000, probably not thrilled with the bill, but at least it wasn't a shock when it happened. And
That's right.
So working with someone that can show you where, what it's going to cost and when it's going to cost will alleviate some of that stress, I think.
Absolutely. So Martha gets this bill in the mail, $6,000.
Right.
20 years later, asking me, hey, what's not covered under Medicare? What do we need to be prepared for in terms of cost for things that are not going to be covered under our insurance? And frankly, do we need other insurance to supplement for that?
Got ya. So I like this. You put together basically the top 10 gaps in original Medicare.
That is correct. So we're going to take a look at some of these gaps all 10 of these gaps. And we are also going to look at how we can cover these gaps, whether it be through like a Medicare Advantage plan or a traditional Medicare supplement.
Got ya.
So the first one that we discussed was long-term care. So folks on Medicare, whenever you come on to Medicare, you get some sort of skilled nursing care.
Sure.
And that's going to be 100 days or less in the world of Medicare.
In the skilled nursing facility, correct?
In a skilled nursing facility, that will also include like home health care. So if you needed some sort of custodial care at home, that would also qualify under skilled nursing, 100 days or less.
And that's on an annual basis, correct?
And that will be from January to December. That is correct.
All right. So long-term care, this is one of the top. I'm glad this is number one on your list because it's probably the most expensive gap in Medicare coverage. It's also the one that people don't think about initially. So if something happens, you fall, you break a hip, you need rehab, you maybe have a heart attack, a stroke, you're in the hospital, you're then transferred to skilled nursing or assisted living. You have 100 days covered by Medicare, which hopefully you've elected a supplement or Medicare Advantage plan to help foot those costs for the first 100 days. But then after that, you're on your own in terms of what Medicare will cover.
That's right, because Medicare deems anything over 100 days long-term. Anything under 100 days, they deem as skilled nursing, which you just said is covered under those Medicare plans. So that's great. Now, long-term care, we talk about expenses or things that you need to be prepared for. Long-term healthcare plans. Mm-hmm. Okay. We know that those are expensive, but if, maybe you have some sort of family history or you foresee you needing over 100 days, that might be something you want to look into to get this covered.
Absolutely. And, this is something that I would absolutely recommend talking about with your financial advisor because they can help craft a plan that if we look at long-term care coverage in a vacuum, yes, it can become very expensive. However, if we build that into your overall game plan based on your assets, some people are able to self-pay and sustain that. It is an expense that Medicare won't cover, but it might be something that you would be able to handle from your asset base, or we can add additional protection for you. This is something that you have to purchase separately. We don't always love the idea of selling more insurance, but if you need the coverage, the way I like to think about it is it's like homeowners insurance for your assets. We're going to use a small portion of your assets to help protect the rest of them from being spent if you are in need of long-term care. And that would be something that a physician says is going to last more than 90 days. Funny how that lines up almost perfectly with Medicare.
With the 100-day rule.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It's going to last more than 90 days. A physician says that is the case and that that's what would qualify you for most long-term care benefits.
So very good. That actually led me right into my second one was the private pay. You beat me to the punch there. So very good. So the two ways of getting your long-term care, so 100 days and over, not skilled nursing because that's already in your Advantage plan or your traditional, but the two ways for your long-term care are to get some sort of long-term care health insurance or to private pay.
Gotcha.
So that leads us into the second thing that's not covered by Medicare, and that is going to be dental. So we know that Medicare does not cover dental on their own, so you can't go, get like a cleanup or get, a cavity filled or something like that and show your dentist your Medicare card and think that they're going to cover that. The ways that dental are covered under the Medicare Advantage plans are option number one. Okay, you would have a traditional Medicare plan. So you would have your Medicare Part A and B alongside of your Plan G or your Plan N, whatever supplemental plan you have. And then you would have to get a private dental plan. So something like a Delta Dental or Physicians Mutual that'll probably cost you about $40 a month.
Got
for
you,
a
and that's
dental
going to
plan.
help you cover the cleanings, the exams, the x-rays, and major and minor dental procedures. So that could be cavity fillings, what you're used to under if you had dental insurance in the past, as opposed to being $5 out of your paycheck, it's a little bit more expensive because you're an individual or you purchased a family plan with your spouse and you've got to foot the full bill.
That's right. So if you're used to paying, $15, $16 for dental, once you come on to Medicare, that is going to go up probably, $40, $45 a month, and you're still going to have some splits. So there's going to be some shared costs between you and the insurance company on those plans.
Yeah.
The option number 2 for dental is if you have a Medicare Advantage plan. Most of these plans have a built-in allowance already in their plan for you at no additional cost.
And the thing I really like about the Medicare Advantage plans is there is no waiting period when you join Medicare Advantage plans with their dental, which means if you start January 1st and you have too much fun on New Year's Eve, you chip a tooth, January 3rd, you can have that repaired using the dental. Now, if you have an individual dental policy, unlike health insurance, which as long as you have continuous coverage, meaning, dental stopped on December 31st and your new plan started January 1st, they are not required to eliminate the waiting period for you. So you could have between 6 and 12 months of a waiting period on an individual dental policy, which is why I find those Medicare Advantage plan dental benefits to be just so excellent because you get access immediately. And if you aren't paying a premium for your Medicare Advantage plan, you're getting those benefits at no cost to you, which is excellent.
So say someone came online with their Medicare Advantage dental plan in, say, October, and they, say it was like $3,000 and they sucked up all those benefits.
They had too much Halloween candy.
Right. And then they come on to the new year in January and they get another, say, $3,000. So in like 4 months, they could have sucked down, in theory, like $6,000 worth of benefit. Now, granted, they'd have to wait all the way until the next calendar year to have any more benefit. But, I mean, that's amazing.
That's
right.
absolutely right.
But this works both ways. So Medicare Advantage plans are not prorated based on when you join, which means you get maximum extra benefits, but you still have your full maximum out of pocket. Like you could potentially hit your maximum out of pocket from October to December and start right over again. That doesn't happen for most people, but it could. But then on the flip side of it, all of your extra benefits, they're not prorated to only the 4 months of the year that remain. You get the full extra benefits available to you.
And the 100 days of skilled nursing that you're entitled to under Medicare, that resets every year. So if you went through, it's not like 100 days for the lifetime of the time you're on Medicare. Every year you're entitled to 100 days.
That's right. Every year you're going to get your 100 days of skilled nursing. And then in terms of dental, I tell my clients all the time, look, if you're coming on, in the latter part of the year, there is no issue with you using up all of those benefits because they're not going to roll them over into the next year. Sure. Yes, you'll get the full amount of the benefit, but it's not going to roll over for you. So do yourself something good. Use those benefits because they're yours.
That's a great point.
We love refilling benefits.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Recharging benefits.
Let's go.
Okay.
That's it.
So long-term care dental, what is number 3?
Number 3 is vision. So your eyes, your eye exam, your glasses, your contact lenses. Medicare does not cover these things.
So this is like routine vision is what.
Correct.
You got to go to lens crafters. Medicare doesn't cover it.
That's right. If it's medical, so if it's some sort of eye condition, some like glaucoma or something, cataract, you're going to be covered because that's separate. That's medical. But we're talking, you need some contact lenses. Even you want to go have a vision test. That would be an out-of-pocket expense for you.
So if you go to the mall, it's not covered by Medicare, but if you need a doctor, it's medical, so most likely it will be. And there are some exceptions here, like, for example, for diabetics, because that would be like the glasses are durable medical equipment. So there are a few exceptions, but we're talking basically in general for most people.
One of those exceptions wouldn't be, I put my glasses on the couch and then I sat on them like, hey, do you think I can get a new set of frames?
Not yet. We'll see what Aetna does with the fitness benefit next year.
So with vision, it's kind of going to be the same thing as dental. If you're on a traditional Medicare plan, so again, you have A and B alongside some sort of supplement, you can purchase a VSP plan or some of the dental plans will have vision already tied into them as well.
But with a Medicare Advantage plan.
With the Advantage plan, you're going to get not only an allowance for your glasses, contact lenses, or frames, but you're also going to get that exam covered, contact lenses, all that's going to be covered, and it's going to be a set amount already in your plan at no additional cost. So these are built-in benefits already with the plan.
That's fabulous. I think this conversation is also doubling for people that are considering Medicare Advantage versus a supplement. I would just keep in mind as we're going through this list, all of the extra expenses that you don't think about that are really medically related, that some of these Medicare Advantage plans can help offset the expense for you. Whereas with the supplement, we can help offset the expense, but there is an expense to you because, as you've mentioned, Frank, in both of the last two cases, dental and vision, you got to add policies that have premiums associated with them in order to add the coverage. Whereas with Medicare Advantage, they've built a lot of these benefits in.
That's right. So that's going to bring me into the fourth one. We won't spend too much time on it. Hearing. So your exams and your hearing aids are not covered with Medicare. So hearing is one of those things to where it's probably going to be more beneficial if you just self-pay, if you're on, just regular traditional Medicare.
Just know this is expense that's coming eventually to you.
Exactly. And that's kind of how I coach my clients. Hey, if you're going to do it this way, you're going to save yourself a lot of money just self-paying. No need to pay an insurance company for a hearing plan. However, under the Advantage plan, again, these are benefits already built into the plan. So you are going to get a hearing allowance already provided by the plan for the devices and a free hearing exam as well on top of that.
Got ya. All right.
So going down the list here, number 5, this one is the one that really pertained to Martha the most whenever she got her bill in the mail for $6,000. Cosmetic surgery. So cosmetic surgery is not covered by any sort of plan.
It's really not even covered by, which is why Martha ran into this issue, because it's not covered by your health insurance.
That's right. It's not covered by any health insurance, whether it's going to be an employer's, a union, whether you're on Medicare, ACA. Cosmetic surgery is something that is defined to make yourself, it's not
elective.
medical. Yeah, elective. It's a great word. It's an elective. So whenever she had her nose job, it wasn't tied into anything medical. She did not fall and break her nose.
She didn't have a deviated septum, anything like that.
That sounds fancy.
If you're not happy with your nose, you can get it fixed, but Medicare won't pay for it. But if you were in a car accident or, fell on your face because you tripped over, some toy in the living room.
This is not medical advice.
Right. Well, I'm just scenarios here. Just scenarios. So depending on the scenario, we'll ultimately determine whether they do cover it.
That's right. So if it's a medical scenario, you trip, you fall, you break your nose, you're covered.
Right.
Okay. If it's something that is elective, so I don't like my nose, I want it to be more flat, then it's not going to be covered. You're going to get that bill in the mail.
And there really isn't insurance to cover this. This is a choice.
It reminds me of the situation I had with my dad. He's got he could have the eye lift done because his what do you
He's got a little droopiness going on.
It's coming right out into his vision, and so they can pull all that back, and they can write it up as a medically necessary surgery to have because it's obstructing your vision. But if he just wanted to do this on his own, he's like, I'm tired of looking like a catcher's mitt. I want it. I want it over with. No, they won't do it. So it's just an interesting nuance there.
So this is also something where if you are considering a procedure, you want to consult your medical professional as to how they're writing it up, if it can be covered under your insurance, or if you're going to pay out of pocket, because there isn't, unfortunately, anything Frank can do to help have this covered for you.
That's right. And don't go breaking your nose so that you can get a nose job covered, because that won't work either. So that's going to lead us into number 6, in which a lot of folks ask about number 6 during our appointments, is chiropractors and acupuncture. So the chiropractor is traditionally not covered under Medicare. However, there are a few exceptions for things like if you have like chronic lower back pain or something like that. But basically all they are going to cover for you is the basic alignment. That will be covered.
And that's kind of true under any type of Medicare that you have.
That's right.
Gotcha.
That's going to be whether you have traditional or whether you have Medicare Advantage, chiropractor, and acupuncture. Chiropractor, basic alignment, acupuncture, I believe, is 12 visits a year under Medicare Advantage.
And then another big one for our travelers is coverage outside of the United States, number 7.
Number 7, coverage outside of the U.S. So with these plans, you're going to have coverage if you do a traditional Medigap plan. So like, again, a plan G or a plan N, because how that works is you're going to have your Medicare, okay, A and B, and you're going to have your traditional plan covering what Medicare doesn't cover.
Got ya.
So since Medicare doesn't cover travel outside of the United States, your plan G will pick that up at 80%, or your plan F, if you're still out there on a plan F or a plan N, you are covered up to 80% for foreign travel.
Got ya. I think we can kind of breeze through number 8, the prescription drug side of things, just because we know you have to add additional policies to Medicare in order to cover your prescription drugs. Number 9, the private nursing services. So this also requires a long-term care policy, right?
That's correct. Or like, if you needed a nurse to come to your home and check on you, you could do a self-pay as well with that. So that would be part of that built-in cost that you help folks with.
Got you. And then the final one, which I think is interesting and important because this does come up for a lot of our retirees, is routine foot care.
That's right. So things like calluses, corns, toenail trimmings, it will cover medically necessary foot care. So like if you have like a diabetic situation going on with retinopathy or neuropathy or something like that, then that would be covered. But for things like, hey, doc, come, clip this callus off of my toe or something, that's not going to be covered by Medicare.
Got ya. And we have a great text question just about the extra benefits with the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plan. Frank, you helped this texter get enrolled. Woohoo, Frank. Do you have to wait on optical till the next year around the same time that you had your previous exam? So do you have to wait a full year to get your annual exam, or does each year you can just go and get it whenever you'd like?
So that's a very good question. So it should be each year, each calendar year. You can go anytime that you need and get that done.
So unlike your annual visit with your physician where it needs to be about a year distance between the two, because this benefit regenerates annually for you on January 1st, you don't have to wait the full year to get your annual eye exam.
That's right. You should be able to go in and get it. I did have a situation where I'm actually in the middle of working with the client now with his plan, and he actually got billed. Well, actually, he got told by his insurance company that he did not have a scheduled eye exam. So we've been making some calls. We've been talking to some people. And long story short, it turns out to just be a clerical error. But I got called with that same question just last week. And yeah, that's going to be every calendar year.
So that also means if you're working with us or you'd like to work with us and you get a bill in the mail, and before you pay it, if you have any questions about it, please reach out to us, 314-863-0008. That's part of what we're here to assist with, to make sure that you get the maximum out of your benefits and that you're not just paying because you received a bill in the mail. Thank you very much, Frank, for being here this morning. We truly appreciate it. A great segment about some of the things that Medicare does not cover and some of the ways we can help you make sure that they are covered. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for another excellent topic.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back because we're going to take our first break of this hour. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back after these messages.
There's nothing like the aroma of your favorite entree cooking outside on a grill. And there's nothing like the thermal efficiency of a big green egg to slow cook, sear, bake, or smoke that favorite entree. Frank Blair from Schnarr's Hardware here to tell you we have a big green egg to fit your needs. There are 7 sizes of big green eggs, so we're sure to have one that's right for you. We stock every size, from the double extra large to cook for a crowd.
That thing is huge and heavy.
All the way down to the green egg mini.
It's so cute.
Perfect for picnics or tailgating. Don't forget to accessorize. We also stock accessories and sauces and rubs to complement any meal. So come to Schnarr's Hardware and let us help you get grilling with a big green egg. Or go to schnarrs.com to see what's in stock, find our locations and hours, or to shop online. Grilling's easy when you start at Schnarr's.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, welcome back to our last 30 minutes of the show. Thanks so much for tuning in to Straight Talk on Retirement. Always fun to have Frank on with us and talk a little bit about Medicare.
And Dad, we've got a great update. Steve from St. Charles let us know that his Gold Advantage from Aetna paid towards his golf clubs and an Apple Watch. I don't know if you want the Apple Watch, but I know you checked out some new Callaway something or others last.
Yeah, I need to go to a different place. The fitting wasn't very good, so we may have to go hit some more balls. It'll be
Apple Watch and the golf clubs. That's quite a haul.
$1,200. It goes a long way.
Woohoo! If not,
well, speaking
else, I'll look at some new wedges.
Speaking of gifts, before we get to our next topic, since tomorrow's Father's Day.
Yes. I'm happy to receive it.
You're happy to receive gifts?
Yes, I'm always happy.
Did you know that 87% of dads say they pretend to like a gift that they actually didn't like?
You know, I could understand that, but I don't resemble that remark.
You've liked all of your gifts?
Every single one you've ever gotten me.
Oh, that's even the...
even the one this year that you haven't
the
gotten
castle
me yet.
that never dried.
Uh-huh.
My artwork.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from text line. We're waiting?
We're waiting.
Okay, you're staring intently at the screen, so I thought maybe there was something to discuss. So let's talk a little bit about, I call this segment Having Fun with Dick and Jane. Dick happens to work for a oil company, major one, in South Roxana, Illinois, where we happen to have, it seems like a cobble of clients. We have over a half a dozen clients there. He's 64 years old. His wife, Jane, came to visit with Aaron and I about 3 years ago when she was retiring. At the time, we did a small rollover of her retirement assets to a self-directed IRA. Dick's income was large enough to cover their current income needs, so they felt pretty comfortable with where they were. But we did make a few recommendations. The first one was we suggested to them they should dedicate some of their extra savings each month to pay off the remaining 5 years of their mortgage.
And this is something, I mean, I think a lot of people, you know, once they get towards the end of the mortgage, they feel the need to like keep it going because of the deductions. But the truth is that you're really kind of out of the deductions once you get into the remaining balance of years
principal.
On your right, because you're heavily into principal, much less into interest. So at this point, maybe it does make sense to just let's liquidate that obligation.
Well, the other thing we also know is that by reducing that outflow, that would make their inflows more meaningful for them during retirement. Really take a little pressure off the valve, as it would. But we also, Rob, talked to them about their risk tolerance, where they were at in terms of where their investing was.
Absolutely. And we discussed increasing their equity allocation to match their risk tolerance. In this case, they were 50-50 mix. And we thought it would be best to move it up to a 70-30 moderate mix rather than moderately conservative.
And this really matched primarily with their risk tolerance because they said that they, again, wanted to receive an income flow for at least 20 years. They did want to beat the rate of inflation. And when you say those two things, You're a moderate investor.
Because essentially you want to live off the interest and the earnings of your capital without depleting the principal. And in order to do that, we have to put ourselves in the best position to earn about a target of 8%.
And maybe the most meaningful, or one of the most meaningful, suggestions that I made to Dick was, I think it's time for you to visualize what's going to happen to you in retirement.
Who are you going to be with? Where are you going to be doing it?
How are you going to be spending your time?
Got 40 hours to fill.
A lot more than that.
40 hours newly created.
8 hours of sleep, 16 hours of non-sleep. Every day coming at you forever.
Well, and what's interesting is that Dick obviously has worked for most of his adult lifetime. He's gotten into that routine of work.
Sure.
So what is going to replace that routine? What is going to be meaningful for him in terms of replacing that time with another activity or activities, if it would be? And, interestingly enough, he wasn't big on taking vacations. So what I suggested that he might consider is a staycation.
A retirement dry run.
Exactly, which was instead of taking a week, because honestly, you take a week off, if you go somewhere, you're a tourist. You're in, your bags are unpacked, you're there for 5 days, you go back. I suggested, why not, because he had accumulated a fair amount of pay, of time, why not take off 3 weeks?
And maybe not even go anywhere.
Exactly.
If your plan in retirement is to really stay local. Because the first week, even if you just take 1 week off of work and stay home, you're just getting into the relaxation, and now you got to go back.
Wow, I don't have to get up for work. That's like the first 7 days.
But after you get into the 12th, 13th day, you're like, what do I do now?
Well,
that's where the heart of it comes in.
It isn't only a matter of what am I going to do, but it's also who am I going to connect with.
Right.
He had many friends that had worked at this particular company. Was he going to get back with them? Was he going to be getting more engaged with his grandchildren in terms of their activities?
We have a lot of people that spend time volunteering in retirement.
That's right. So what was really going to fill that bucket of meaningful time for him? Was it exercise? Was it working at a church? Whatever it would be. Let's do a dry run here. Let's see whether or not, to be honest with you, there isn't too much tread left on the tires. And after that, we met about a week later, and the truth is that he was feeling a little uneasy, as most folks do. Until they make that change, until someone else like us is actually creating or replacing their paycheck for them, there always are financial questions. So what we did was we said, okay, let's start at the back end. And what we like to think of the back end is that when all the faucets are on, when Dick is taking his Social Security benefits and a pension if he has one, whether Jane is receiving her Social Security benefits and a pension as one, when they're at their normal retirement age. So again, we ran their numbers and we found that they wanted approximately $6,000 per month because they paid off their mortgage. At that point is a net amount. Naturally, we had to gross that up, don't we?
We do, for 20% for taxes. So that brings us to $7,200. But we know when we turn on both of those Social Securities, that's going to be $4,800. Dick has a $1,200 pension, so we're almost there. We're at $6,000 a month between the combined Social Securities and Dick's pension, but we're still short about $1,200 a month.
So we like to apply our formula, which is $12,000 a month times 12 months, $14,000. We divide that by 4%, which is a prudent withdrawal rate, to determine how much is the milk money, how much capital do they require to be there, hopefully safely and securely generating that 4% income over a long period of time. And we determined that was $360,000.
This is it's almost as if this our segment lined up with the text question that was basically, a lot of people are intimidated and saying that they aren't going to be able to retire because they've heard that they need $1 million in order to do so. And I think that this shows, Dick and Jane are spending about $6,000 a month, $7,200 when we incorporate taxes. The power of their Social Security benefits plus pension really created a situation where they are going to need very little assets in order to maintain their lifestyle. They need far less than $1 million in order to do that.
Well, that's right. But if you do remember, Dick is 64 And for him to get to his normal retirement age of 67, we need to obviously incorporate some money in here. So if we take his pension, which he would receive immediately, from the $7,200, he needs $1,200. That means they're $6,000 a month short, or $7,200 per year short. We multiply that by 3 years, that's $216,000. So in addition to the $360, which
would be ongoing after Social Security
they
turns
also
on.
need another $216. But they also told us a couple other things, because we like to find out, are there any type of non-recurring large expenses that you feel like you could or want to incur, and we should be planning for from a cash flow point of view over the next couple of years? Well, one of them was a vehicle replacement, which is unusual.
$1
million.
We talked about that in the newsletter. It's $48,000 out the door.
Well, not in Dick's case, because he wants a truck.
$78,000 out the door.
Never retire.
These trucks are beautiful, man. They're expensive these days. So, and they really only said at this point they were looking at at another vehicle. So between the three of these, the milk money, the income basically replacement for those couple of years, as well as the automobile, we're looking at a total capital need of about $656,000. But they have retirement assets of $1.4 million.
Oh, that means Dick can get any truck he likes, all souped up.
Well, they also have other savings of about $130,000, which is really great for them, because in this particular point, if they want to own this vehicle and they want to pay for it in a single sum, which I don't love, but it's okay, this is something you want to do, they actually have enough liquid assets to not have to invade their IRA.
Create a big taxable situation.
To get at that money.
And they could just refill the bucket with the payments they otherwise would have been making.
There you go. And what do we call those people? Woo-hoo.
Rock stars.
Exactly. So after going through the numbers again, we asked, how do you feel? A little more calm, a little more ready, a little more confident. Where the real confidence meets the road is when what happens is we start depositing money into his account every single month in the exact amount, withholding taxes, et cetera, as he's planned. And he sees the process happening. He's watching what's happening to his capital. Because in this particular case, we're talking about the possibility of consuming as much as $200,000, or actually almost $300,000.
There might be a little drainage at the beginning.
It's a possibility, because we're not assuming any rate of return here.
Right.
So life is really good. And it all comes back to the math. If the math works, the science, which is basically the investing side, if done prudently, will be designed to deliver the results they need to earn at least 4% net over a long period of time.
And you know what? We've got Steve on the line before we take our second break of this hour.
Steve, thank you for holding.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to be turning 65 next month, and I'm going to probably continue working another year. What do I have to do with the Medicare situation? Right now, I'm on a high deductible plan, and I have a savings account. I also understand you can't have an HSA when you're on Medicare.
Does your employer have more than 20 employees, Steve?
Yes.
So then what I would recommend doing is nothing. So you don't have to apply for Medicare. In fact, if you apply for your Medicare, that will, as you just said, you're not eligible for your HSA if you do that. You do not need to elect Medicare because you already have a plan that's considered as good or better than Medicare's. When you retire is when you'll elect your Medicare benefits. You'll lose your employer's coverage, but you can continue to contribute to your HSA until you leave work as long as you don't apply for your Medicare benefits.
Right. There's some coworkers that are older than me that are on both. They're on the company insurance and Medicare. So I don't know.
Well, so they're probably doing that because you're on a high deductible plan. So they're using Medicare to help supplement. However, if you want to still contribute to your HSA, which I think is the better option, then I would say I would not utilize your Medicare benefits quite yet because you've just locked yourself out of those contributions. And so that way, and you can always make the determination every year if you decide maybe it is time to switch over because I have some higher medical expenses. I want to start using my HSA dollars. Then that's something to consider. But in general, we rarely recommend that people leave their group health insurance plans or use Medicare to try to supplement it because even though your colleagues might be using Medicare, the way that the payment system works is it first runs through your employer's plan, and it's only going to cover Medicare is only going to step in and cover the difference between what the employer plan paid and up to 80% of the actuarial value of the charge. So it's not like 100% comes in with Medicare to come help pick it up. So that's
still
why
a co-insurance thing, I guess.
Exactly. So that's why we still think that the HSA is more valuable than the benefit that Medicare might provide.
The other thing that I was going to say that you were mentioning here was that, Steve, you don't lose anything by not making an election here. When you decide to leave, you'll have what's called a special election, which will permit you to seamlessly move from your company plan to Medicare without any penalty that's involved. So what you'll want to do is about 60 to 90 days before you've made your final decision to leave your company plan and to enroll in Medicare. You want to get together with a professional to sit down and say, okay, who are your doctors? Who are your hospitals? Let's get that match put together for you on what will match with your Medicare best. And then what will happen is you'll be able to then make a smooth transition between the two.
Okay, I might possibly take you up on that. So basically, I'm not subject to the 7-month window, 1 month before my birthday, or 3 months before and 3 months after.
Right. The window doesn't matter the window isn't going to really apply to you, because what will happen is that you're leaving your plan after age 65, and after the window is over, gives you a special election period. So you'll be good to go. And obviously, we would be happy. We certainly would be happy, and Frank would love to assist you in that process. And we help literally hundreds of people every year do that, and they're all listeners just like you. So thank you for your call.
Great. Well, thank you, and you have a great Father's Day.
You do the same.
Let's get to one more text question before we take our break.
And our texter writes, how does Social Security determine the amount of child support to deduct out of your monthly check? I am taking it at 70 and owe close to $30,000. Gross amount of Social Security would be around $4,400.
So the way that child support works is that Social Security is considered income. So it is not, unless your income has dropped based on taking Social Security, it's not going to have an impact on changing your child support amount, unless there's some provision that you have in your agreement. So this is probably something you want to go back to your attorney to get full clarity on. But I do know that Social Security is just considered income, which is how they calculated the initial child support payments.
Very good. And with that, we're going to take our last break of the hour. So do us a favor. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back right after these messages.
We sell truckloads of siding, windows, doors, and decking. My name is Julius Krasanik, and I'm celebrating 52 years in this industry. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot. We have over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge from our seasoned customer service group. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
With just one click to WSDepot.com, that's WSDepot.com, you will find the best brands in the business like Anderson, Certainteed, Viwinco, Masonite, Provia, Trex, TimberTech, and others. We also offer a great selection of styles and colors that are durable and energy-saving, all at everyday wholesale pricing. No silly window ads that say buy 2 windows, get 2 free, or 50% off labor. We also have a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation needs. Keep it local, family, and professional. Please visit our website, WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Erin Lapidus.
Well, we're back for the last 10 minutes of our show here. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 314-931 5877 or 84126 from the text line.
And our next texter writes, if you turn 65 and go on Medicare in November of 2024 and have already contributed the max for a family HSA, does the 6-month look back rule mean you need to withdraw 50% or just 2 months worth of that?
What it means is if you've already made the maximum contribution, if you did that January, for example, you wouldn't have to pull anything out. It's 6 months from when you join Medicare to when you made your last contribution. And it's only it sounds like you might be making a family contribution. So it's only the individual going on to Medicare that you would need to extract any of that contribution, because your other family members would still be able to make the contribution.
That's a good one, babe.
Yeah, it's the rules are a little bit complicated.
Well, I'm glad we have you around.
Happy to be of assistance, and also you would, just want to check with your tax preparer or CPA if you have any additional questions about that, because they should be well versed in being able to assist there too.
Another reason I love you having you around.
Another reason you love me? No.
Blueberry pie.
Oh.
I love.
It's funny that you mentioned blueberry pie.
I've been thinking about blueberry pie.
The most searched Father's Day recipes are, in order, potato salad, egg salad, sourdough bread, French toast, and chocolate cake. I was just going to pick from one of these most searched. I was going to make you like a potato, egg salad, sourdough bread sandwich.
Well, thank you, because I love blueberry pie.
All right. We've got
and you do a really nice job on that too, by the way.
Oh,
I'm trying to encourage you. That's what fathers do. They encourage
you manipulate
their daughters.
Me?
No, I'm not. I'm encouraging you. I'm not discouraging you. I'm encouraging.
I appreciate you. It's always nice to be complimented.
You're welcome. So I was going to say, in our newsletter this month, the last article was about special dates.
Birthdays.
Days you should know about.
Yes.
And so I want to call this a real short segment, When I Become a Grown-Up. Now, don't ask your mother, because, she'll say I'm never going to be a grown-up. But Frank wrote to me recently.
Not our Frank, a different Frank.
Yeah, frankly, and this is what he said. I've enjoyed listening to your show for many years. It's improved dramatically since Aaron and Rob have joined. Like I'm chopped liver, right?
Never.
Standing on the shoulders of giants here.
Right. I would say chopped liver, or like I'm blueberry pie, right?
Which is just the best.
The explanations to questions are both easy to understand and insightful, and I have a bunch of them that are related.
And most people do.
Yeah, especially if you're related, right? I'm turning 70 on July the 3rd. Fun day, right?
July 3rd, right before the 4th?
Exactly. It's like a double party day, right? And have not yet applied for my Social Security benefits. Hello. I understand that it is mandatory to start taking them. Do I need to do anything, or will Social Security send me the money automatically?
I wish that were the case, because you're really penalizing yourself by not taking your Social Security benefit at 70 years old if you've waited to that point, because you don't get any more increases.
Okay, so they don't send it to you automatically. You have to go and say, send it to me, please?
Correct. This is just Social Security and Medicare. They are elective benefits, which means you elect your benefit. You can, like Steve is going to do, delay the election of his benefit. And like Frank has done since 62 years old, delayed the election of his benefit. But you have to proactively request your benefit be sent to you. Social Security has now essentially required that you have direct deposit. So you're going to have to input your banking information, because I do not believe they mail checks any longer. I think it's all direct deposit at this point.
Well, guess what, honey? That leads us to the next question. I've been covered by Medicare and a Medicare Advantage plan, which Frank sold me, since my retirement from the police force at age 65. And we have a lot of officers of the law that are clients, and they're wonderful people. They're also to be respected. Will I continue to send Social Security checks quarterly to pay for my Medicare Part B premiums?
This is a great question. No. this is one thing the government will do for you without having to request it. They're going to start withholding your Medicare premiums from your Social Security check. However, and this is what I recommend to every single person that is in this situation, if you are mailing checks, which happen on a quarterly basis for most people for your Medicare premiums, even if you know that your first Social Security check is going to come in the middle of a quarter, so you only want to pay half of the premium that's been billed to you, please do not do that. Pay the full premium that was written on the bill that you received in the mail. Social Security will actually credit back to you your Medicare premiums that you paid, that they will deduct from your Social Security check. They're sophisticated enough to handle that with much ease. I've seen it happen with many individuals. What they are not sophisticated enough to do is credit you a partial bill and realize that Social Security is going to now pick up the balance of that quarter. So you're going to have missing Medicare Part B premiums if you just make the decision to calculate the bill on your own.
And then you have an issue with your Medicare Advantage
Right.
plan.
You have a grace period, but why stress yourself out? Just pay it. You'll see it come back on your check. So your Social Security checks are going to vary for a couple of months, and then they'll even out.
Well, that's cool. So far, we know that Frank's turning 70 in July.
Has to apply for the Social Security, or else they won't send it to him.
He's been paying for his Medicare Part B premium, but we know that once he elects a Social Security benefit, they'll begin to withdraw that directly from it, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So his last question was, as a grown-up, when do I have to start taking my required minimum distributions from my IRA plan?
Well, luckily for Frank, he still has a few more years, being he's just turning 70, so he'll have to wait till 73.
There we go. So and it isn't actually his birthday in July of 73. It's actually the year he turned 73, but it's any time during that year.
Absolutely.
Unlike turning 59 and a half and being able to withdraw money from your retirement accounts, you literally must be 59 and a half in order to do that. So the distribution date has to line up with 59 and a half. The year you turn your required minimum distribution age, you can start withdrawing before you actually turn 7. So for example, Frank 3 years from now could start January 1st withdrawing money to meet his required minimum distribution when he he doesn't turn 73 until July. From January to July, those distributions will count because they're looking at calendar year as opposed to some of the other benefits which require you to be a certain age.
And what's also nice for Frank is the fact that he can choose to elect the money as he wishes during the year, monthly, quarterly, bi-monthly if he likes to. There's no charge.
Annually.
Exactly. We can also withhold the federal and state income taxes in many cases for him, send those to the government, so he doesn't have to worry about that doing quarterly distributions.
Withholdings, yeah.
And the other cool part is that if he is currently charitably minded, giving money to a church or a temple, if he's sending money to the Wounded Warriors or to St. Jude, we can actually effectively reduce the taxation of those RMD benefits by having him permit us to send the check from the custodian.
And
directly to that charity.
Dad, I know you and Rob worked on an interesting case just last week about making enough charitable contributions to be able to use an itemized return versus the standard deduction, or just sending directly from the IRA to those charitable organizations. And maybe we can, over the next couple of weeks, have a segment about how that math worked out.
Yeah, this is important because this is a client of mine that's now in his 80s. He's probably one of my oldest clients.
How do we do what you're already doing more efficiently?
That's exactly what the question was. And interestingly enough, we'd had this conversation together and found out that because of the breadth, the level of contributions he was making, he actually was no longer able to itemize, except for these contributions made it so that he could itemize.
So he was,
and the question then became, does it make sense for him to take the standard deduction or to have these RMDs reduce the taxable amount of the charitable deductions, reduce the taxable amount of the RMDs? And Rob and I did the math.
We did. We crunched the numbers. And
it was fun.
It was a war game, and we were able to save the client, I believe, about $1,000 a year.
Which is great, which is the accountant's fees that he shouldn't be getting charged because his accountant should have said the same thing to him.
Did not.
And he did not. So we have a nice little spreadsheet that we're going to be sending to him and to his accountant so that he can take a look at this and then they can make a reasonable decision. The cool part is, again, we're just about halfway through the year, so we should be able to save a little bit for him, maybe half of what he would, $500 this year, but then $1,000 moving many years forward in the future.
And the great thing I think you said to me was, if he decides to do this, then just set it and forget it. We take it from there.
Absolutely. And, the other fun thing is folks realizing these things, us having our coaching sessions with new and prospective clients, as well as existing clients. Easy to do. Give us a call, 314-863-0008, or go to our website, hit contact us at jblfinancial.com.
Happy Father's Day.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more straight talk on retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.